All right, guys, we are doing unit rates today. So get out your notes and write down in your binder on today's notes the I can sentence. I can calculate unit rates. All right, that word unit means the number 1. So with unit rates, we're going to be finding 1 of something. So everything we do today, we're finding 1 of something. So let's go ahead, get started with example number 1 and look at how we actually can solve a unit rate problem. So example number 1. So we're going to use the classic example of a car traveling a distance. So we need to do 540 miles in 9 hours. Let's say you're driving and you drive 540 miles over the course of 9 hours. So how many miles does that mean you're going to go in 1 hour? And that number 1 there indicates that we're doing a unit rate when you're finding 1 of something. So here's how we're going to go ahead and set up this problem. And every setup of every unit rate is going to be line, line equals line. And you're going to get tired of hearing me say that. Line, line equals line. All right, so the first line is for your labels. And you must always start with labels. And when you do write the labels in, you get a point on a quiz or a test. And if you don't write the labels in, you get minus a point on a quiz or a test. They're that important. They help us organize all of the information in the problem. So you must start with labels. The two things we're comparing, the two amounts, miles and hours. So miles comes first, so it goes on top, and hours comes second, so it goes on bottom. The second line or ratio bar in the problem is for the information they tell us, which is the 540 miles and the 9 hours. So next to miles, we're going to write the 540, and next to the hours, we're going to write the 9. Now, the last line in our line equals line, our last ratio bar is where the unit rate goes. And here, for the unit rate, we're finding 1 of something. And in this problem, they tell us we want to find how many miles for 1 hour. So we're going to go ahead and write the 1 in with the hours label. So that's on the bottom there. So we're going to write a 1 on the bottom underneath that line. And we're finding how many miles. So to solve this, you want to look at the two numbers next to each other. 540 is next to a blank, so we can't use that, but the 9 is next to a 1, so we're going to go ahead and use that. And what we have to do is using multiplying or dividing, figure out how that 9 turned into a 1. In this case, to go from 9 to 1, you would do 9 divided by 9 equals 1. So that's going to tell us how we get our answer on top. You have to do the same thing. So we're going to take our 540 and divide it by 9. Now we know that 54 divided by 9 is a division fact. It's 6. And we have that spare 0, so put it on the end. So our unit rate is 60 miles for 1 hour. That's our answer. That's our unit rate, 60 miles for 1 hour. So that magic sentence we learned, for every blank there are blank. So in this case, for every 60 miles, it takes 1 hour. And that is how you would explain that answer with that sentence. So that line equals line is the most important part. That's how you're going to set up every unit rate problem. Even if you can do it in your head, you're still going to get points for setting these up. All right, example number 2. We're going to do 3. So here's example number 2. Example number 2, let's talk about when you're at the grocery store and you know, maybe Giant Eagle and they bag your groceries for you. So the grocery bagger, maybe they're doing a really good job and they're bagging all your groceries really quick. So the grocery bagger bags 32 items in 3 minutes. And our job is going to be to find what the unit rate is for this. What's the unit rate? So that indicates that you're going to be finding for one of something. So before we think about that, just do the setup. Line equals line. Before you even think about anything. What the setup's going to do is help us break this down to small pieces. So the first line is always for your labels. You have to ask yourself, what are the two things that we are comparing, the two amounts? And in this case, it would be items and minutes. So items comes first, and then minutes. Now the second line, or second ratio bar, is for what they tell us in the problem. They tell us 32 items, and then they tell us 3 minutes. Now the last line is where you really have to make a decision. What are we finding one of? Are we going to find how many items for 1 minute? Or are we going to find how many minutes for one item? Which one makes the most sense? We have to put a 1 somewhere. It's a unit rate. Well, in this case, it makes the most sense to find out, not for one item, but it makes the most sense to find out how many items we can bag or is bagged in 1 minute. How many items per minute. All right, so we look at our two numbers that are next to each other, which in this case is a 3 and a 1. And they're not always on the bottom, it just happens to be, in this case, it is. So how did we get from the 3 to the 1 using multiplying or dividing? Well, 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we're going to do the same thing to the top, divided by 3. So 32 divided by 3. And this one's going to require some side work because it's not a division fact. So 32 divided by 3, do it off to the side. And if you get a decimal as an answer, that's okay. You can have a decimal in your answer. Because when we're doing unit rates, everything doesn't come out exact. As it is in real life, everything doesn't always come out exact. So we're going to get 10.6, and the 6 is going to go on forever and ever and ever and ever. So we're just going to stop it at 10.6 for our answer. So how many items in 1 minute? We just found out 10.6 items in 1 minute. So that's our unit rate. Like that guy or girl could bag 10.6 items per minute. So if we had to explain it, if it's in a word problem, 10.6 items per minute. Or for every 10.6 items, there's 1 minute. All right, last one, example number 3. You're going to do this one on your own. I'm going to get you started here, and then at a certain point, I'm going to have you pause it and finish it on your own. So for this example, we are going to be looking at, let's see, what should we do for this one? Something that we commonly run into, foul shots. Let's look at foul shots. So let's say you're during a fundraiser, you're taking foul shots in the gym, and let's say you make 42 foul shots in 8 minutes, maybe? Yeah, let's do 8 minutes. Okay, so let's find the unit rate. What does that mean for your unit rate? If you made 42 foul shots in 8 minutes, what's the unit rate? So automatically, line equals line. Do your setup. That should just be automatic as soon as you see unit rate. And your first line is always for your labels. What are the two things that we are comparing? In this case, we are comparing our foul shots and our minutes. So those are your two labels. Those are the two amounts we're comparing. The middle bar is for the information in the problem, which is 42 foul shots. That has to go with the foul shots at 8 minutes. And now you're going to pause the video and you are going to finish the rest. And when you get your answer, go ahead and hit play and let's see how you did. Okay, you should have your answer by this point. So let's take a look here. Where is the 1 go? Our last bar is for our 1's going to go somewhere. So are we finding how many shots in 1 minute or how many minutes in 1 shot? Well, it makes the most sense to find not how many minutes for 1 shot. That would be confusing. What we really want to find is how many shots per minute in 1 minute. That would show us the rate of making the foul shots. So look at the two numbers next to each other. In this case, the 42 is with the blank, so we don't want that. We want the 8 and the 1. And how does the 8 turn into 1? Remember, you can only use multiplying or dividing. Well, 8 divided by 8 equals 1. So 42 divided by 8. And that's not a division fact, so it's going to take some side work. So when you do 42 divided by 8 over to the side, remember, it's okay if you're going to get a decimal because not everything in the real world comes out as whole numbers. And especially when we're talking about speeds, like speeds of shooting foul shots. You don't always end on whole minutes or whole shots either. So when we figure this out, it actually comes out even. To be 42 divided by 8 is exactly 5.25. So what that means is this person made 5.25 shots for every 1 minute. That's our unit rate, 5.25 shots per minute. So if you had to explain your answer, you would use that for every blank. There are blank sentence. So in this case, that would be for every, or 5.25 foul shots for every 1 minute, or per minute. All right, so you're ready to get on the quick check quiz. You should be working every single one of those out. There should be a line equals line on every single problem. None of these are mental math, so go ahead and get started on that.